Hello everyone, Tim here, and welcome back to my painting critique channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the wonderful paintings that came out of my recent December live and online workshop where we painted this quite challenging scene in Bradford-on-Avon. More on that in a minute. So once a month, I select a challenging subject for watercolor. Could be a landscape, street scene, or seascape, quite a wide range of subjects. And over a couple of hours or so, I do a step-by-step demo and painting of the scene with as much commentary along the way, and attendees can ask me as many questions as they want to. So it's quite interactive. I'm shortly going to go into a bit more depth, my review of the paintings one by one from the workshop. I'll talk about what I really like in each one and maybe suggest a few little tweaks here and there that might help. Remember that these paintings were done by people at all different levels of watercolor skills. Some folks are just starting out and others have been painting for years and years, and that's the beauty of it, really, that wide range of skills and everyone interpreting the scene quite differently. It's nice to see how different some of these paintings come out when we're painting exactly the same scene. Now, before we start, I should mention that the photos, of course, were taken by the attendees themselves, and we're going to have maybe different lighting conditions and definition as well. So it's just down to the different devices that we're using. So bear that in mind as we go through them. Now, if you fancy joining one of my workshops, you'd be very welcome. If you haven't done one before, you can find all the details at Crowdcast, my event website, which is crowdcast.io/@TimWilmot, TIMWILMOT. Also, go to my website, timwilmotartist.com. Or if you're on my mailing list as well, you'll be informed of up and coming workshops. And also my Patreon members, who instantly get a 50% discount on these workshops, they'll be informed as well, and more material up there also. Right then, first of all, what we painted. This is a very narrow oldie worldy street in Bradford-on-Avon in the UK, and as I said, a very challenging scene. This is probably, I reckon this is about the most difficult scene that we've ever painted. I've been doing these online workshops now for 13, 14 years, a long time. And this, yeah, as I say, this is probably about the most difficult one. What we've got here is a bit of challenging things as regards composition. We're looking right down the middle of the street. It's quite sort of symmetrical in a way, and we want to try and maybe avoid that symmetry in the composition of the scene. So we need to think about composition. There's, of course, in any street scene, there's inevitably perspective, and we've got double perspective here, left and right. Look at those angles of the shot front there and the bottom of the street there and on the other side. It's a little bit quirky, this street, because we're looking slightly uphill, believe it or not, and also there's a little bit of a dip, I guess for drainage or something, just in the middle there. But we need to bear that in mind as well, that very challenging perspective. Also, trying to get a feeling of depth. Those distant buildings down there, they are about 200 meters away or so, but we want to try and maybe push them back, get a feeling of depth and scale into the scene as well. We've got figures aplenty, seated figures there, some standing figures right down the end there. So, I mean, they're seated, might be a little bit more difficult. Tables and chairs as well can be difficult to do in a cafe type scene. So lots of challenging figures. We need to think about values. The shadows here, look how dark they are compared to the light on the other side, and the light showing up on the white paintwork of the door frame and the windows here, and the light of the sky as well. So we need to think about that value range and trying to push those values. Colors, the lovely warm stone color that we've got here of the buildings on the right hand side. Look at that, they're a little bit weathered, but we've got some warm ochres, we've got cooler colors, light brown, tan, grey, all sorts of things going on. And then within the shadows, I detect a little bit of warmth, some coolness as well. So we want to try and look at the colors and try and get a realistic match of those. The big challenge of this workshop, the focus of this workshop, was window reflections. We've done reflections in water and harbour scenes and river scenes and lakeside scenes. We've done loads of those in the past, but this one now is more challenging, the window reflections. So particularly, if I can point out, so these two guys here sat at the tables, and the reflections of those on the other side. And this window is quite complex as well. I'm not sure if it's exactly flat, but there's two parts to it. We've got the doorway between the two panes of glass as well. So those challenging window reflections will present some issues for us, I know. And finally, as I go through the paintings, I want to see a little bit of creativity. Can you pick up on things and maybe exaggerate them, maybe menus and signs, or introduce some other creativity? The inevitable birds in the sky come to mind, but how creative can we be in taking this scene and sort of putting our own, as I say, putting our own stamp on things? First of all, my version of the scene, my demo painting from the workshop, which I'm fairly happy about. You can see that I spoke about the symmetry of the scene. You can see I moved the opening, the end of the street there, just slightly to the right of centre. And we've got more of a focus of the window reflection, the row of buildings down there on the left, and less on the right. So fairly happy with that composition. Perspective, I think I've got almost right. It looks like hopefully you can think that we're looking slightly uphill a bit. We've got that little bit of a dip I mentioned in the street. So perspective, okay. The feeling of depth, look how light I went with the buildings at the end. Probably push them back another 100 meters or so. Kept them fairly loose as well. Ideally, you want to try and get soft edges. We've got a little bit of a soft edge there, but you want soft edges, light values to try and push things back, make things look a little bit more distant. We've got the figures, which I've simplified a little bit, but there's my two guys there. I've got sat down there on the right-hand side. And let's look at the window reflection. So keeping that fairly loose, not too detailed. You can see I had a lot of sort of abstract work and mucking about with my brushwork, trying to get the feeling of those reflections. Need to make sure that I get the figures right. So that's that one there reflected there. This guy here is there. So you've got to think about the opposites of those and where they're going to be in that window based on some kind of midway point there. So quite happy with the figures and reflections. Value wise, I went quite dark. Maybe I could have gone a bit darker. Particularly, I'm thinking it's quite light up here in the top left corner, but then with the sun is coming from the top left, so it might be bouncing, it might be sort of coming down against that wall there and bouncing into the scene. So maybe there could be a bit of light coming in, sort of like reflected light coming into that scene. And I got in the little details like the square shop signs as well. That always makes it a little bit more believable, and bits of details on the building here. There was that kind of old sign there on the wall. These A boards, these menu signs, the details on the street floor as well. I missed out that bollard right in the middle of the source photo. There were things that I wanted to exclude, but it'd be nice to see if anyone actually, what I say in my my impression of the scene, my evaluation of the scene, I say, well, leave that out. Will anybody actually bring them back in? So it'd be nice to see that as well. Anyway, so that's mine. Let's get on to the attendee paintings then. First up, Andrew. So as I go through these paintings one by one, I'm going to be looking at composition, perspective, drawing skills, watercolor techniques, that sort of thing. Have we got the sense of depth? Have we got the figures right? Have we got the values right? What about the colors, that window, the all-important window reflections, and any sort of creative element as well. Andrew then, good job on the perspective. I think we got that quite right. Got the feeling of going uphill. Good feeling of the depth in the scene as well. Overall nice composition. You haven't got the opening there right in the middle. Good figures. I would say with these figures, it looks like a slight bit of overworking there, but just try and keep them nice and loose, but they've got a good proportion about them. And the window reflection, so you've moved the opening there slightly to the left. We've got less of the window reflections, but they look good. We've got the figure there looking on the left. Perhaps we could have, I still think maybe having the opening more on the right might give us more of the windows, but your windows are good. I like that sort of glazed, sort of chalky, opaque-ish look to the window as well. They could be dirty windows or something like that, but it certainly looks like glass to me. With the shadows, it looks like you've sort of gone around those seated figures there. I'm just wondering if you'd have gone more of that quirky shape of you just make up that sort of outline of the shadows going down the street. Maybe would that actually look a little bit better than just sort of skirting around those figures in a way. I admire your patience, Andrew, trying to negatively paint around those those very delicate white window frames. You've got in the old sign up there, beautiful, lovely colours. Also, good element here, joining this narrow street. You often find cables, don't you, joining one side to the other. So it's nice to have those in. Try and get a straight line as well. But lovely, well done. Thanks, Andrew. And Barb. Nice, clean, bright watercolor. Good composition. Perspective is all right. I'm just wondering whether we could go possibly a little bit steeper, possibly, Barb, on that left with the sign there. Could that be angled down a bit more? That angle's good. This angle's good. That angle's good, but maybe just, yeah, I think you're nearly there. I think just a little bit higher, maybe on that right-hand side to try and give maybe more of a feeling of how narrow that street is. The depth is brilliant. That's pushed right back. Soft value, soft edges, soft value. Really nice. Figures are fantastic. I like these three there, especially that middle one. Nice sense of movement. Well, and that left one as well. Really good figures. All in proportion. Yeah, nice seated figures as well. Window reflections are brilliant. I should say that everyone found, me included, we found those window reflections so difficult. It's quite a challenging thing to paint, anything to do with glass and a reflection in glass, car windscreen reflections, for example, but here equally difficult. And I think you did a good job. I like the effect of the window, the brush marks there. Looks like there's a little bit of white paint as well. No problem with that. Yeah, good job on the windows. And also little details of the signs and the A board. Lovely shadow color, good shadow shape as well. Nice edge to it. Beautifully done. You've got the cone in on the right hand side. Typical sort of UK cone. You find them everywhere. Maybe there could be a little bit of could it be a bit more of a shadow there? That cone, not sure. But yeah, nice element down in that right hand corner. And you join, like Andy, you join the side, the two sides together with the thin wires. Yeah, a lovely scene. Yeah, well done, Bob. Thank you. And Ben, nice composition. Perspective is very good, certainly on the left-hand side. And yeah, the right-hand side looks good as well. You've got a good sense of depth, maybe just a little bit too hard on some of those lines there. Have you done I think you're veering on a bit of line and wash here, which is very appropriate, I think, for a street scene, and it's nicely done here. Maybe I can't detect whether you put down the line first and the wash second, or the other way around, but I think it works quite well. But maybe not. I don't know, not so much on very distant buildings. Just be careful of too darker lines down there. Want to try and push them back. Really nice figures. These figures walking down the hill. Anyone that is local to Bradford-on-Avon will know that there's at the end of the street is an even steeper street which goes down almost like that angle, or maybe not as steep as that, but the centre of town is way over to the left down this hill. So the figures are walking downhill, nice seated figures, good reflections of those, lovely window reflections, a mixture of hard and soft edges, the detail of the doorway, the shelving behind the windows as well. I like the way you've done the glazing of this old shop here on the right hand side, which had these very small panes. Yeah, nicely done. And the attention to detail of the frame of these cafe chairs as well, that sort of rattan type chair with the steel framework. Nice brushwork with the value of nice brushwork with the shadows. Yeah, well done, Ben. Excellent. Bronwyn. Nice composition. I think you've avoided getting that opening there right in the middle. Nice composition. Good feeling of perspective everywhere. I think the top of the street, could that top of the street be a little bit steeper, possibly? Anyway, good. No, that's good sense of depth in the distance there with those buildings. That's the kind of value we want, and the strength of those lines, the softness of the edges, brilliant. Really nice figures. Oh, I can see you sneaked in a figure there. Really nice figures. Both the standing ones and the seated ones. Bit of movement as well. Look at the leg, the leg with some space between different parts of it just suggests that bit of movement or light catching a bit of the leg. But equally, figures lurking in the shadows can be good as well, which if it's a bright sunny day, you probably would have some people walking and taking advantage of the shade. Nice window reflection. You've gone really bright with those window reflections, which is nice. Is it too bright here on the left? Could it be glazed over just a little bit? Yeah, I think the right-hand side is better than the left, but the window reflections are brilliant. And I like the brushwork in the top there, where you've got those really bright windows on the right-hand side being reflected on the left. Everybody did a really good job with the signage as well. We could all be sign writers, I think, in another life. Good job with the menu boards and the dip in the street, the value of the shadows. Excellent, nice edge on that shadow as well. Yeah, lovely. Well done, Bronwyn. Chris. Oh, again, I like the colours here and the brightness of it. Yeah, my eyes keep going to the building down the street, let alone the reflection. The reflection's been done really well. Very, very nice indeed. Nice composition. Perspective, to zoom in a bit. Perspective is fantastic. I think you've got it perfectly right. The star of the show for me, I mean, everything's brilliant about this, but I love the way you've done that building at the end, the brushwork. It's kind of thing is, are the shadows just a little bit too dark to push it back? But maybe not, no. Yeah, so great sense of depth. Love the way you've done those buildings. You've captured the colour of the stonework there, Chris, really well. The figures, brilliant. So let's have a look at the figures. Figures are brilliant there, down the right. You've got loads of them in there. The chairs as well, those really quite difficult chairs, the figures. Are there a couple of figures lurking there? I think there are. Those reflections are brilliant. Really well done on those. Particularly well, the two city ones, that and that window, that window with the blue bottom to it. Yeah, yeah. You've got. I guess you've gone lighter with the values, so not so dark with the shadows. I like that bit of splattering effect as well. Another watercolor technique. That'd be a good thing to try and see as we go through these, the different watercolor effects that we've got. So we've got splattering here, which would be very appropriate for like an old street like this. And you've got to obviously judge the timing of splattering just right. You do it too soon and you just get a watery mess, or you do it too late and it just does, you just don't get the effect of that pattern. But this has been done just right, especially that one there and that one there at the end. Yep, so well done with that. But overall, brilliant, fantastic. A lot of people got in that funny overhang as well, which I didn't. I missed out on mine. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Maybe it's some sort of covering, ancient covering for. Maybe there was a pulley here or a crane or something pulling up produce. I'm not sure, but I missed it out. I just thought it looked a little bit weird and simple. Well done for having it in, and all the other details were the ironwork, balconies on the windows. Well done, Christy. Right, I can see straight away the colours that you've injected into the scene, particularly on the street, the colours in those shadows, really nice. Good composition. You've gone for that central look, which is sort of all right. I'm just wondering, the line here, Christy, going down there, and the value we've got for the buildings at the end. Can we try somehow, if you'd have gone maybe lighter with those buildings at the end, that might have pushed them back even further. But a lovely bright scene. It's a bit like Chris's scene in a way. Lovely bright. The perspective is brilliant. Very good indeed. Lovely perspective. The figures, excellent. I do like those figures at the end there. Again, a sense of movement, keeping it simple in proportion as well. Connecting those figures with the shadows down below. Brilliant. Window reflections. Yep, they're very nice indeed. You've gone a little bit opaque with the white paint there to try and get the feeling of the glazing. That I think that's worked as well. Kept it nice and simple. Certainly look like windows to me. But I do like these colours. Very nice colours. Could there be more of a softer transition? This little border down here at the bottom of the window just seems a bit bright to me. If it was just glazed over a bit, might that be my eyes keep going there, and I just think if that was a softer transition, it would look a little bit better to me personally. But it's a super scene. I do like the colours you've injected in the shadows. Yeah, and the way you've done the windows as well there on the right-hand side. That's another area to look at as we go through the paintings. How people have painted those very tiny little small panes of windows on this very old window. Oops. I think this is Derek. Yes, it's Derek. Right, let's just zoom in a bit on Derek's. There we go. Right, nice composition. Perspective looks good on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I think the bottom of the street looks okay, that line there. But the signage, I think we just need to angle it down just a little bit there, Derek, just a tiny bit. All right, that angle there is okay. It's not nice. I love the brushwork, and it's lovely, loose brushwork. Really nice. Maybe the sign just a little bit too bright there, the sign in the shadow. Maybe you could make that even darker, like a blackboard, something like that. Very nice figures, very loose figures there. Almost like a sort of John Yardley type of figures. I love the brushwork on that side. Very nice, and the way that you've created that sort of shadow below the window ledge of that shop. Window reflections, yeah, very good. You kept it nice and simple. That's sort of worked out as well. You haven't got the figures in, but that's your choice. Certainly looks like a window. Maybe could you have gone a little bit lighter with those windows just to give them that sort of glazed look? Or looks like you've gone a bit more opaquish there and there, but maybe just go over with some white paint, very thin layer of white paint, just to get that feeling of the glass back again. Thanks very much, Derek. Lovely brushwork, well done. And Fritz, nice composition. I like the softness of these shadows, and also that shape there, which looks like, again, reflected light coming in, or somehow I like that little bit of lightness there within the shadow. Right, so nice composition. Perspective's good. Yeah, perspective's good. Maybe that window, the top of that window, could it be just angled down a little bit more, just a tiny bit steeper towards the vertical. Nice feeling of depth at the end there, pushing those buildings back. Figures, let's look at the figures. Seated figures, very nice indeed. And the chairs as well, excellent. Your figures at the end also very nice indeed. The window reflections, they've come out okay. Certainly looks like windows. You've got a bit of, it might have been a sort of antique shop or something like that, but you've got an old antique table there showing in the window. Nice attention to detail. Yeah, good job on the reflections, particularly on that left-hand one there, Fritz. Shadows are brilliant. I like the way that you've depicted the street floor, the street here with the stonework and that soft edge as well of the shadow. Yeah, well done, Fritz. And Joe, let's just zoom into Joe's a little bit. Right, nice composition. Perspective is very good. Yeah, very good. I'm not sure if you've made the street just a little bit shorter. You haven't sort of, nothing wrong with it, but you haven't sort of continued that left-hand side down a bit, but it looks okay. Left and right. Good feeling of depth. Lovely. Well done on that. Yeah. And it does feel like beyond the street, it does feel like a very bright, summery day down there at the end of the street. Figures are good. Just wondering if the figures are not the ones at the end, but the figure's a little bit too small. Perhaps they could be a tiny bit larger. Joe, just a tiny bit larger. I mean, the thing to think about is with figures is imagine the seated figures. They suddenly stand up, and then look at them in relation to maybe a door or a window where they are, and just think, or a car, a parked car or something like that, just to see for yourself, whether they, I think they're nearly there. Anyway, right, window reflections are very nice. You've kept it nice and bright. Maybe, is it too bright? Not sure, but lovely window reflections. You've got the proportions in just right. And the reflection of those seated figures. Nice cool shadow going across the street there, and the edge of it also, that little bit of light that Fritz saw as well. Nice signage on the shops, and well done on the signage there. Yeah, well done, Joe. Thank you very much. And John. I've got two Johns, not so. I've got two Johns. No, John, not John D. John. Right. Good composition. I like what's going on here. There's these figures down here. Looks like they're saying hello or something like that, or raising an arm, lifting something up. I don't know, but nice attention to detail. Good composition. Perspective is very good. Got the feeling going uphill. Nice feeling of the little bit of a dip in the street as well. The figure work is excellent. I like that figure on the left. These figures down the end there, brilliant. Yes, and then the reflections also very good as well. Oh, you've got a chest of drawers in the window, and soft edge as well to push it so it sort of looks like it's behind a thick layer of glass, which I guess you would get fairly thick glass in a shop window. Nice attention to detail down the right side. You've got some planters in. Not sure if anyone else has done that yet, but those planters hanging from the walls on the brackets and so on, which you find a lot of in some of these towns. Yeah, a lovely painting. Well done. And then you've got the top architectural thing in there and the signage on the right. Yeah, well done, John. And Justin, nice composition. Very nicely drawn. Perspective is very good. Left and right. The figures. Oh, value. Let's talk about value. Maybe could have gone a little bit lighter with some of those darker elements there, possibly just to push it back. But good sense of value there. And yeah, the value compared to particularly on the left-hand side of the street. Figures are excellent down there on the right-hand side, and those 3 or 4 figures right down the end there. We've got the coffee, tea, muffins as well, very appropriate. With this figure, with this figure here, not so sure. It's a good figure, Justin. I'm not sure if I would include it. It would work if that figure was over on the right hand side and also the height of it. I think that figure, if you did have it here, the head would be almost there. Yeah, so get the figure in there. It'd be that sort of height, because we've got to compare it to where it is to the height of the doorway. Or you might think, if you imagine a figure, or on the right hand side here, a figure, the head would be around about that kind of, on average, be around about that sort of level there. So just think about that. But everything else is fantastic. Those windows are absolutely fantastic. I like the effect of these little streaks going across the window, which again, it just gives a feeling of that sort of glazing, that the surface of the glass, and maybe a bit of light or something like that. That's just creating that sort of imperfection and that sort of glazed look. Brilliant, lovely attention to detail on the left hand side. We've got the planter there. We've got loads of signage as well. The blackboards. I love the coffee, tea, muffins. Yeah, nice attention to detail on that side, and the way that you've very carefully done the panes as well. You've got the cone in. That's a lovely cone. Really good job. And nice shadows as well. Just the right colour for those shadows. Yeah, fantastic painting. Just see if we can see anything else. I like the way that you've very freshly painted the details down that left-hand side as well. Yeah, well done, Justin. Thank you. Kazim, all nice and bright. Good composition. Perspective, very good. Particularly on that left-hand side. Excellent perspective. Figures are very good as well. Oh, let's talk about depth. Nice feeling of depth with the distant building. Soft edges, lighting value, well done. Yeah, figures are excellent, just in the right proportion. Nice 3 figures at the end there. Reflections, brilliant. Let's zoom in on the reflection. Reflections are brilliant. Nice sort of these white streaks as well. The chest, again, a chest of drawers in the windows. Everyone did really well on the reflection, I think, considering it was the most difficult part of the whole scene. Everyone's done so well. The menu boards here, signage, the shadows. We've got the dip in the street, the edge of those shadows. Yeah, well done, Kazim. Thank you. Margaret. Very nice. I like the style of this. Nice composition. Those buildings down the end are very good indeed. And that sort of warmer, more golden colour on the shady side of that building. So nice. So a nice attention to detail, but it's not too detailed. So it certainly pushes it back. Good perspective. Excellent on the perspective. Left and right. Got the feeling of going up the street as well. Nice figure work. Let's have a look at the figures. Now, our gentleman on the right, reading a book or something like that, and these other three seated figures there. We've got a dog. We've got a dog. I think our first dog. A figure here walking a dog. Yes, and no window reflection. Let's zoom in on these. Nice paintwork. Kept it soft. We've got the chest of drawers in the window. Not so sure about. Let's just come back out. Don't think we. If that's a figure there, don't think we need that figure. The others are all right. There's a seated figure there being reflected. One there. I love the brushwork here. You kept it really soft edges, a little bit of opaque paint as well. Beautiful shapes in there. Fantastic. Nice. As I said before, everyone's done so well on the signage. That is brilliant there. Just in the right angle as well, strawberry blue. Well done, Margaret. Thank you. And Marilyn. Right. Nice composition. Nice, bright scene. Good job on the perspective. Very good on the perspective. Just be careful with, on the perspective, that signage, I think, is pointing down. Your letters should be a little bit more vertical. Although that might be a good angle for street signage. If someone's down here looking up, it would be just the right angle for them. Yeah, just watch the lettering there. Just have them a little bit more vertical. The feeling of depth, really good. Yeah, excellent there. You've gone quite cool with that one, which I think probably pushes that building even further back, going cool, rather than sort of a light. Well, I use a light ochre for a light yellow ochre for mine. Figures, very good. Just be careful of some of the heads being a little bit too big, but good figures, especially our main guy there on the right, sat in the chair. Window reflections are very good. Yeah, just try and I would try and soften up some of the edges a little bit, particularly any object that's sort of way back behind the glass. So try and make them a little bit softer, but particularly that bit there where we've got a little bit further back. But really good job on the window reflections. Nice shadow, lovely values, just the right value to get that feeling of brightness. Yeah, lovely painting. Well done, Marilyn. Thank you. And Mark. I might have two Marks. No, Mark F. Right. Well done with the composition. Perspective is generally okay. I think with the street sign there, could it be just a little bit narrower at the end or wider up on the left-hand side? A little bit, Mark, I think. Nice, so nice composition, nice perspective. We've got the feeling of depth with those buildings in the background there. Figures might be just a little bit too small, particularly I would just make them a little bit bigger, maybe, what could I say, 20, 30% bigger, particularly seated figures here. But they're good figures. Window reflections, excellent. You've used the dry brush, and you've gone a bit opaque with some white paint. I think very appropriate. That dry brush there, we can see dry brush, and then opaque there. That sort of chalky, that kind of chalky, opaque-ish covering to the surface of the paper. Just gives you the feeling of a dirty window or that sort of an older style window. Shadow colours, very good. Try not to have that little bit of white there. I would just have a nice gradual transition from the shady side of the building to the car shadow that's coming out. But lovely shadows, good shape to them as well. Well done on the right-hand side with the glazing on that side. Yeah, well done, Mark. Thank you. Michelle, nice composition. Good feeling with the depth of the distant buildings there. Perspective wise is good. Yeah, we got all the angles just right. With the, okay, so just a few comments to try and I would say use a bigger brush or go a little bit, not sure what paper you're using. Maybe you're not using cotton paper, not so sure, but just try and be careful with the application of paint in these larger areas there, just so we don't show the sort of edges. Just go, maybe dampen the surface just a little bit, or use a bigger brush. Use a bigger brush to try and not show the brushwork. A little bit of lightness here, just continue that dark, that value there is just right, Michelle, but bring it down, all right, to over the edge of the paper, continue all the way down, but the value of that shadow just right. Figures, very good indeed, just the right size. Yep, got a load of seated figures there, the figures at the end, very good. Reflections, excellent, really good. Yep, seated figures, maybe could have gone a bit darker, possibly in the bottom left-hand corner, and get the feeling of that kind of ledge just a little bit more down there. Yeah, lovely light, well done. Thanks, Michelle. And Min. It's quite a warm feeling to this one. Again, I reckon this image will look, is brighter than what we're seeing here, but I think the photo might be just a little bit too dark. Nice composition. You are quite central with the opening there. I would still try and think, can I move the opening at the end of the street to the left or the right, if I were you, Min. The perspective is all right, yeah. Yeah, perspective is good. Both left and right. Depth. We've gone a bit too detailed, I reckon, at the end of the street. Or the shady side of the street on the left is a little bit too light. It's almost the same value as the building. So just try and go a little bit darker on that left-hand side compared to the buildings at the end there. Figures are good. Just be careful with the size of the head, but that figure's brilliant. These two here down here might be a little bit too dark. You've gone quite light with these figures. I would say keep them, particularly that one on the left, keep them a little bit, make them a little bit lighter. All right. The cone is nicely featured there on the right. It's like a spotlight on it. You're well done with the cone. Right. The window reflections on the left, they're all right. You've gone soft with them. They certainly like windows. You've got that sort of glassy look to them. The perspective in there is good as well. Perhaps you could have got some signage, or if you're not confident in writing strawberry, just make them look like letters. But you got the logo in there. Well done with that. But yeah, just some sort of, you don't need to do them precisely, but just put in some lines there so it looks like some sort of street signage going down. You know what I mean? Going down towards the end there to fill in that space. Yeah, so I think with this one, what would improve it is going a bit darker with the shadows. But you captured the essence of the scene. Yeah, well done. Thanks very much, Min. And Richard. Oh, no, Richard's almost gone vertical format. I do like this light here, which I think in that street, if my memory serves me right, where I took the photo, it was the sort of entrance to the street, so it was quite light. But I do like that light down there. It's got the right balance of light and dark, this one. We are a little bit like line and wash. I love the pen work here. The squiggly lines, they're all connected. Nice, loose, confident lines. Even some lines there in the sky. I love the sky. You've got some clouds in there. Perhaps a little bit too getting the feeling of depth down there in the distance. Perhaps a little bit too detailed on those rooftops, but it does feel like there's something going on down there. Yeah, good perspective. I like that little bit of a curve as well in the top of that roof. Yeah, brilliant perspective. The figures, oh, there's so many colours in this as well. Yellow, blues, reds, all the primers there. Yeah, good range of colours. Nicely done. Figures are excellent. Window reflections. Yeah, I think we've got it. They certainly look like windows to me. You used a little bit of white opaque paint there to get that glazy feeling to it. Yeah, it's worked really well. I like on the street floor that bit of, that looks like, I'm not sure how you've done that, almost like this sort of grid type pattern, almost like a hexagonal honeycomb sort of shape pattern to it. Very effective. And there's I can see several layers that you've applied here, these light lines to help with the perspective, leading right down the street. Then there's that wash on top, that darker grey wash. And then these, I guess at the end, this sort of with a dry brush, that sort of honeycomb effect, very effective. Yeah, that light in the middle as well. So we've got light, dark, light, dark, light. Yeah, nice pattern. Yeah, good interpretation scene, and you've gone a lot more creative. Well done, Richard. Robbie, super. That window reflection, these sort of shapes, these squarish geometric shapes in the window, very effective. Right, nice composition. Perspective is very good indeed. I know you like your street scenes, Robbie. Yeah, really good perspective. Sense of depth, we've got that. Maybe a little bit too detailed. You see these lovely buildings down there at the end of the street, and the temptation is that you start doing the windows and the rooftop and the pattern of the shape of the rooftops as well. But yeah, just I would say go less detail on the top of the roof. The figures, excellent figures. These seated ones here. We've got glasses or mugs on the table, the chairs. Yeah, all in nice proportion. The reflections have come out really well. I like the colours and the shapes and reflection. We've got the objects in the window as well, the produce from the store, the signage on the shop, the menus outside. We got the planters, lovely colours in the shadows, warm, bit of coolness down here. Maybe I know with Christie's and a few others, it was quite bright there and dark. Maybe mine was a bit like that as well. I would just try and go, possibly, would you go just a little bit darker on the sort of this lower border skirt of the window there, just to try and get the transition a little bit softer to those fantastic shadows. The windows on the right-hand side, beautifully done. Yeah, the windows there, right-hand side. A lovely painting. Well done, Robbie. And Sylvia. No, this is lovely. Immediately, the impact of the values to project that feeling of brightness in the scene. For example, comparing the value of the shadow in the street to the light beyond. Brilliant. Yeah, very good first impression. So nice composition. Perspective is good. I'm not so sure about some of these elements here. That line there and that line there looks a little bit odd, but generally all okay. The authenticity, the matching of the colour for the stonework, you've got that really, really well. That is brilliant. That colour there, the texture on the wall, just right. Left-hand side, perfect. Nice bit of light. That's quite effective. Going quite light on that strawberry sign. The brightness there. Nice sort of, so it's not all dark on that left-hand side. The window reflection's good. Maybe a little bit too strong with the white there, possibly. Not so sure. We've got so that blue figure there, that's that guy there, isn't it? Yeah. So that one is that one, and this one, the figure in white, that's that one there. Got it. I was thinking around the other way. So that one that was that one. That one is that one. Now we got that right. Perfect. There, yeah. There's window reflections good, but I think the star of the show are those shadows. The car shadow going across the street, and that little bit of. Is it lifting off, or you've gone over this with some thicker, lighter, opaquish colour? But you've got the feeling you've got that sort of raised impression of the stonework, this sort of York stone slabs here, these big slabs with the sort of beveled edges of them, and then the gaps between them, and that little lightness down there. Yes, really nice. Well done, Sylvia. Vicente. Don't think there's any more. Yeah, Vicente is the last one, and very bright scene in the normal Vicente, lively atmospheric style. Composition is good. Perspective is brilliant on this one. I like the strength of that left-hand side, and the fact that with your paintwork, that looks like quinacridone gold. Beautiful, warm colour, and it's gone over the sign. You're giving it that sort of oldie worldy look and that sort of contamination of colour there works really well. Perspective looks all right. Not so sure about the end of the street. You've got the street going like that, but then you're going at looks to me like a slight angle there. So just watch that a little bit. But overall, good job on the perspective. Figures are brilliant. Yes, very nice figure work there on the right, and the loose paintwork for that. Figures, good down there. Just be careful. One or two heads might be just a little bit too large, but good figures. I would, with some of these objects on the left, I would say that white area there, I would block that in. It just stands out just a little bit too much. That sort of transition from the light of the building to the car shadow going across. Lovely shadows going across. Just don't overwork it too much at the end there. Maybe we generally get a little bit lighter towards that shadow. So darker values there, and then a little bit lighter up there. But lovely brushwork and a nice bright scene. Got the feeling of depth as well, but just be careful with too hard lines down there. That colour on that left-hand side, Vicente, the way you've done with a dry brush, that strawberry side, brilliant. Yeah, well done, Vicente. So that's all in then. Thanks for watching, sticking through all of the images. As I say, if you want to take part in future workshops, then pop up to my website, timwilmotartist.com, and go to the online, I think it's called online courses or online classes, something like that. And you'll see them all there. And you can take part in all the previous ones as well, and this one as well, if you really want to, if you haven't taken part. Take a look at the Patreon site as well, where you get 50% off these workshops and other benefits as well as being part of a very active, lively community with representations in many countries across the world. And yeah, catch up with you on the next workshop, where I promise we won't be doing something so difficult as this one. we kind of intersperse them with some are easy, some are more challenging, but definitely an easy one next one. So don't worry. Catch up with you on the next one.